Flight training organisations succeed or fail in the quality of the product they deliver. My own relationship with CTC goes back many years as chief pilot with Qatar Airways and then latterly CTC Airlines. I took on CTC graduates, so I know the quality that is sitting here in front of me. It is very high quality, and you have a terrific grounding in the training that you have received here at CTC. And you must never ever downplay the fact that on your CVs you will have CTC graduate. Because as a chief pilot I spent hours and hours poring over CVs of young, hopeful pilots desperate to join the airline. And to be fair, you can't spend much time on every single CV. So I think it was somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds you go through, and I looked to see where they were trained. And if you've got CTC graduate on your CV, that is worth having. Interesting.
Today we've announced the launch of the Jetstar Cadet Pilot Training Program. It's an innovative new venture where we partnered with CTC Aviation to put together a cadet pilot program for Jetstar. The program is specifically tailored for Jetstar's requirements. The exciting thing about the program is that it makes becoming a pilot far more accessible and affordable for people. So we will see people from all sorts of different backgrounds whose dream it's been to become a pilot to actually be able to make that a reality.
We've worked in partnership with CTC since easyJet started in 1995, so we've had a great relationship for about 16 years now. And the thing about CTC is that they adapt very well to the changes that we need. You know, the world of aviation changes very quickly. We're a company that has to adapt to that very quickly, and CTC always are open to new ideas and different ways of doing things to improve and adapt to changing environment. So it works well.
If you look at the number of people who are in the room today, a lot of the guys who graduated from CTC are now flying with British Airways, and actually some of the award winners also flying with BA. We are aware that there are a large number of people out there who've got the aptitude and the attitude and the talent and the desire to become a pilot, but they just can't do it. There isn't funding available for them to loan to come to a college, so we've actually decided to stimulate that market and stimulate that group of people through our Future Pilot programme. It's the first time we've launched it in 10 years, and CTC is one of our only 3 colleges in the entire world who are going to be providing cadet pilots for us.
I was very impressed with the standard of flying and training in CTC, and because of that a team of our airline jointly with the Qatar Civil Aviation Authority have visited CTC, and they have decided that it's a very good college, and this is why we've gone in partnership with them. This year by itself we had 750 pilots joining us. And annually we're looking for 400 new joiners. So the future is bright. If you go into websites, you look at IATA, ICAO, the newspapers here, they tell you some statistics about the number of pilots that the airline industry needs or the world needs. I'm only interested in Qatar Airways. I can tell you Qatar Airways, we require about 400 pilots a year minimum, and we're planning to actually select more cadets and train them to our own standard and our own SOPs rather than choosing pilots from other airlines. So the future is bright for the young people who are trying to join CTC or any other colleges to become pilots. There is future for all of you.
Well, certainly the future of pilot training is all down to growth, and that's what we're going to see in the aviation industry in the future. We're going to have a high demand for pilots, and we need to make sure, certainly as an organisation like easyJet, that we can get those pilots, because we want to see growth. We're going to certainly grow at 5% over the next few years. That means we're going to need in excess of 100 to 300 pilots per year. So we need to have relationships with suppliers like CTC to make sure we can meet that demand.
Future prospects are pretty bright. I think things are going to start to pick up. I think there's certainly going to be a shortage of pilots in the future, and so we're going to need to start recruiting and getting people into aviation from an early age. We really need those pilots in.
My personal experiences of CTC as a training provider, generally the last 11 years or so, we've been involved with my company for the CTRS program, which we found very successful. The quality of pilots was very high indeed, and we've enjoyed their services for many years as loyal and very efficient pilots.
I think that the opportunities are definitely there for females in exactly the same way as they are for the guys. I think possibly women just don't apply in the numbers that the guys do. I think when I was at school it just wasn't talked about, that you could be a female and fly aeroplanes. I think that's coming more prevalent now. The information is definitely getting out there, but there's still quite a low uptake in people wanting to apply.
I wouldn't fly 7,000 miles return journey to stand here and promote something that I did not believe in. I believe in the product, Chris, that you and your team produce, and you should be aware of how highly valued your training is within the industry, because you have a great future. Your timing is excellent. Let me give you a number, 465,000. That's the number, depending on which statistician you speak to or which aircraft manufacturer you wish to believe, that's the number of new pilot positions which have to be filled in the next 18 years. Let me try and break that down. If we come to the Middle East, the numbers that we've been given is we need in the Middle East alone to recruit 5 pilots every day, 365 days a year for the next 18 years, just to fill our cockpits.
Our projections are that over the next 4 or 5 years, we'll need something like 800 pilot recruits. So we've got some guys that came through CTC over the last couple of years, and we've seen a number of them today, and they're pretty sharp. They're good guys.
I think really it's the level of airline expertise that CTC maintain by keeping their instructors very close to the industry. You're able to train very specifically the sort of requirements that we want as your guys come to us to get in the airliners.